You know, things are so quiet and uneventful during the breaks here. You should really join us. Welcome back, everybody, from St. Louis, Washington University. This stage being set now for tomorrow's big debate, the second one. For these guys here, the fifth one they're hosting. That's got to be near a record, but I could be wrong. By the way, we've been telling you this back and forth over comments Donald Trump made about women 11 years ago and how a number of top Republicans are saying, we've had it with you, we don't want to be on stage with you. Some going so far as to saying, you know, you should step down. Ben Sass among those saying he can't support the guy. Of course, he never did. But one who did, who now is not, is Senator Mike Crapo, Republican of Idaho, and who is no longer endorsing Mr. Trump, isn't going so far as to say Trump should step down. But for those who were urging that, Mr. Trump is telling the Wall Street Journal that he is not. I never give up. And he says he is continuing to get unbelievable support. So there is that. That's coming from him. All right, the read on this at a time. We've got those developments, these emails of Hillary Clinton, which some interesting things are coming to light, including her feeling very differently about trade deals and about Wall Street than things she says on the stump when she's speaking to these groups behind closed doors. All of this at a time the drama and maybe the ratings and attention build for this debate on this very pristine idyllic campus. We've got the read now from Julie Wojcicki, Democratic strategist in New York. Next to me now, Gina Loudon, radio talk show host, still supporting Mr. Trump. Gina, ended with you. Begin with you. As a woman, are you offended by the comments you heard?
I'm offended when any man talks that way. Absolutely, I'm offended. It's offensive, and I think Mr. Trump realizes it's offensive. He's apologized. We have such a major decision before us, Neil, that this, to me, is more of the minutia that the Clintons would love for us to dwell on, to take away from the fact that
well, how do you think he should deal with this tomorrow? How do you think he should deal with this tomorrow, if it comes up?
I think he should absolutely address it. I think he should address it right from the get-go. I think he should take it very seriously, which he seems to have. And then I think he should address the fact that we as a nation are in true peril if Hillary Clinton becomes president because of her actions, not because of her words.
Julie, what do you think the fallout will be for Hillary Clinton then on these emails and what she told groups? Does she hope that the attention is focused on Donald Trump and whether he's a misogynist or worse, you know, all that? What do you think happens?
Well, what happens is that she's going to go out tomorrow and say what I think women across the country have said since they've heard about these comments, which is that they're deplorable, and I use that word specifically, that there is no excuse for them, that what he's in fact doing is applying sexual assault. It's not even locker room talk, as he wants to say. And to Gina's point, look, that was not an apology. He said if anybody was offended. If anybody was offended, I think the world was offended. Every woman and every man that cares about any woman in the world was offended. Every father of every daughter was offended. And furthermore, he said then continued to turn it around and say...
Were you offended, Julie? Were you offended, Julie, by Bill Clinton's actions when he was president?
I was. By Monica Lewinsky. Was I offended by him? I was. But look, Bill Clinton is not on the ballot, and Hillary Clinton is. And if anybody wants to victimize the wife for her husband's affairs, you now understand why Donald Trump is not doing well among college-educated white women, which is the reason
that she might have enabled that. And my only point in mentioning this, ladies,
him to have affairs with Monica Lewinsky?
No. She criticized the women who made the charges. My point here is to say that this will become a big part of the debate. And I think on both sides, it could be each side grabbing for the nuclear option. And Gina Loudon, that could make for a very messy debate.
It could make for a messy debate, and I hope it won't. But here is where Hillary Clinton is more complicit in the actual abuse of women than some words that someone said in some locker room talk that I'm not excusing, but I am saying Hillary's actions actually hurt people.
You say locker room talk and all. He was 60 years old.
It was locker room talk. I mean, that's what it is. That he was not intended for public consumption, and I still just think that we have to look at actions. More importantly,
so what are you going to tell women, Gina, when they hear this and they're on the fence about him, but they hear this? That's a deal breaker, isn't it? Fairly.
No, this is what I'm going to tell women. I'm going to tell women that Hillary Clinton defamed the women that her husband abused. She has never defended them. She's called them bimbos. She spent $100,000 on a private investigator to try to dig stuff up out of their past to make things even worse for the victims of her husband. And these were assaults.
So when Kelly of North says she will not vote for Donald Trump, what does that tell you?
I can't decide for anyone else how they're going to vote.
Understood.
I think everybody's going to have to make their own decision, but I think we need to look a lot closer at actions than words, because actions are going to determine what happens next in this country.
Fair enough. Julie, let me ask you something about the email stuff on the flip side. I think if moderators or how it's going to work tonight, town hall moment, aggressively go after both. But do you find it odd that charges that Bernie Sanders made, that, you know, about the speeches and everything else, and that he wanted to know what she was saying to these groups, and lo and behold, we get revelations from some of these emails released that she was telling, you know, Wall Street guys a very different thing behind closed doors than she was telling campaign supporters in front of microphones, that it raises the trust issue with her?
Well, listen, you're never going to find me defending these Wall Street speeches. I didn't from day one. In fact, when she left as Secretary of State, I remember turning to a friend and saying, a Democrat, I might add, and saying if she is even contemplating running for president, which I think we all knew she was, there was no reason to go behind these back rooms and do these speeches to Wall Street. That's something that I will never defend, and I am not surprised that, of course, what she was saying behind those closed doors was not exactly the populist message that those Wall Street firms are paying $100,000 or $200,000 to hear. I mean, look, Lloyd Blankfein's not looking to hear that you're going to burn down Goldman Sachs and burn down the financial system, but which is what I think Bernie Sanders would have wanted her to say, but we all knew she was never going to say it. I have to say, though, again, I go back to this very fundamental point. If you don't like Hillary Clinton because you think she's too close to Wall Street, if you don't like Hillary Clinton because you think she's too close to the establishment, and that's what you're running on, that's fine. But instead of nominating a Ted Cruz, a Marco Rubio, a Jeb Bush, somebody who could have proposed conservative solutions to the world's problems, in fact, what the Republican Party has nominated is somebody who's suborning sexual assault, talking about grabbing women by their body parts. I can't say them on television what the word was. Talking about kissing women without their permission, all because he's famous and he can. That's something that's not politics as usual. That's not two different visions of two different ways to run the country and run the world. That is
Gina,
somebody that's
what he
completely
did is so far less than what Bill Clinton did to women in
Bill Clinton's not on the ballot.
office. And that's not exploiting his stardom. Here's what people need to contrast right now. We have a country that is in economic peril. We have a businessman, and we have someone who is so connected to Wall Street that she is willing to lie to the American people, to essentially say to Wall Street people, hey, don't really believe what I say,
you as a woman
to get
can
votes.
just move past this other stuff that Julie mentioned.
I can't move past the fact that Hillary Clinton has never condemned the actions of her husband, has never defended these women. That's what I can't get past. And the fact that our entire economic and national security future depends on
Gina,
this election.
you know,
we have two choices.
Let me just add,
Julie,
let me
I wish we had more time. I've given. I wish I'm not slighting you. I just want to say we're out of time.
All right, see you tomorrow.
I am talking about some other stuff.